Hey, I appreciate you coming in today.
Yeah.
Like,
Thanks for having me.
it's funny. I spoke about this with you ages ago. Like,
Yeah.
obviously we're in the same sort of networking group,
Yeah.
and I've been in it since I was 18, and you were like the story.
What?
You were like,
You're making me feel old now, man.
no, like you were the story of why I got involved, because obviously I went along as a visitor, and then
Yeah.
you do a blood sacrifice, and you join the networking group. No, you don't actually, but you end up getting in the group, and you hear different stories along the way of why the networking group works, and they have different stories. And you were the story at the time. You came in for 12 or 16 weeks straight, or whatever it was. You asked for the local MP, and you said, I want a connection to so-and-so. And you did this 16 weeks straight. And then so happened that one of her best friends came in the room one day and played tennis with her. And it led to a phenomenal contract of a local MP here that you leveraged fantastically to build your agency at the time to a huge thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, wow, what a story. And I wonder, hopefully one day I get to meet her. And it was like this thing of like, oh no, like that'll never happen.
Sounds like an urban legend or something.
No, but it was like, we used to meet at in GMHBA at the time.
I remember. Yeah, and the stadium. Yeah.
Your colleague at the time used to be there at the meeting.
Yeah.
I wonder if Kate will come along. I wonder if I get to meet her.
Yeah. Oh, Danielle was epic. She's such a great designer.
Here we are.
Yeah. Well.
So thank you.
Well, I at the time I felt like I keep asking for this person, and I felt like I didn't want to sound like a broken record. Like keep asking, because then people like disconnect as soon as you get to the referral request. And I'm like, no, just keep going. Like just be like a dog with a bone and just keep going. And then it just happened to be on the day that I was presenting my 10-minute that person was in the room. They were invited along.
Wow.
And I didn't know that they had the connection. And it was part of my presentation I was really specific about who I wanted to work with. And they knew her.
Oh, wow.
They knew Sarah Henderson. And now she's the Senator for Victoria. So she's slightly different where she is politically, as in the structure of things. But yeah, talk about just everything coming into alignment. And I felt like at the time, broken record, but it ended up working. Yeah. So when you're really specific, it works.
And for you, I mean, if we take a few steps back, how did you, firstly, I mean, who are you? What do you do?
Oh.
I forget. I know your story so well because I'm over here like a little fanboy.
There's people out there would be like, who's this person? My name's Kate, obviously. Thank you. I have my studio is called D&Co Studio. We're a branding and design agency, and we've been around for 15 years this year. So I started my business when I was like mid-20s, showing my age, and it's just evolved since then. It's gone through so many changes, and like it's just been my lifelong passion, and I couldn't think of my life without it now. There's been a couple of challenges that I've been presented with, and it allowed me to think about, okay, is this what I actually still want to do, still want to be a business owner, still want to do design and branding? And I had that opportunity to exit and I didn't. So I think it's always going to be a part of me and my identity as a person.
Like, I love the name, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. D&Co Studio.
Well, funny story to that. My uncle was really well known in the advertising industry when he was he's now retired. He did like a lot of advertising for Ansett. You know those ones where the kids are out in the outback for Qantas?
Yeah.
Where they're all choir in the white.
Yeah.
That.
Oh, okay.
And you know the GOGGO pages, he did that too.
Oh.
So he was really well known in advertising, and he was part of George Patterson, and then he had his own agency for a long time. And his freelance studio name is Dewey and Co. So I couldn't have Dewey and Co. because I really wanted Dewey and Co.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, you can't have that. I'm like, bugger. Okay, let's go D and Co.
Yeah.
So that's how it came about.
There you go.
Yeah. It was called Dewey Creative though for a long time.
Yep.
For about 6 years, 7 years, and then I rebranded.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel like we all go, like, the name you have with your first business is always, like, so different. Like,
Yeah.
I look back at,
Bespoke, sweeted marketing.
no, that was the second one.
Yeah, okay.
The first one was, like, digital difference makers.
It was
Really?
too.
Yeah.
I didn't even
sessions.
know that.
Shocking name.
It's a real mouthful.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
So was the next one, bespoke suited marketing, because I wanted
Yeah.
bespoke marketing, and then
Was taken.
that was taken, and then I tried to find a way to make it work rather than just. I've always hated naming, like that naming and like that element of like branding has always
There's
like
real art to it. And to try and find one that's not taken is so hard. Workshopping it is really important.
I think that's some things people don't even know where to look. Most people go, oh, just look on the ABR. As long as it's there on the ABR, I'll be able to get it. It's like, have a look, trademarks, have a look, these other like
There's
the
a whole
ABR
process to go through.
Are you planning to be outside of Australia?
Yeah, ATSIC, trademarking, all of that aspect, that legal aspect of things. I have advised clients on that aspect of things, and I work closely with like a couple of really top marketers to help workshop brand names. So we all get together and workshop them with the client. It is so important to get the right brand name because it's going to be the first thing that people hear or see is that name. And they're like, what the hell is, I don't know, whatever. If it doesn't resonate, then you're in real big trouble.
I think when you're younger in business, you don't think it's important because you kind of like, well, it's just a name. I can change it later on.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. I know for myself, I was like, I'm not worried about SEO, so I'm just going to do this thing. So I didn't think it mattered.
Yeah.
And then I think you get a few years in, you realize how much word of mouth means, and just the fact of like someone random could be talking to someone else and say the name, and they go, yeah, I've heard of them, or no, I've used them, I've had a good experience. If you're constantly changing names, or if there isn't a name there, kind of thing, that doesn't happen, because they could be talking about the same business and both have great things to say, or one's thinking about using them, but now you're a different name, so that person can't even recommend you. So
of course,
I think it's such an important thing to think about lifetime of the business.
Oh, absolutely. And when you're young, you don't know what you don't know. Like you just want to get some runs on the board, and you just want to get started, and you learn things sometimes the hard way, sometimes the easy way, and it's what experience amounts to. Like you don't know what you don't know.
For you, in the early stages, how long were you freelance before you started to get a team?
Oh, wow. So when I first started, it was literally just me and my husband at the time. And then we kind of employed contractors or freelance designers, and that was great. Like that was a really great way of getting really fresh ideas, working with a really great remote team at the time, even though that wasn't really heard of, I suppose, until COVID came around and all that. But it was like a way to get things off the ground and a way to grow the agency and grow the business. I didn't hire my first in-house designer until Danielle, and I think you might have met Danielle.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and she's exceptional. She now runs her own wedding stationery studio. So she does beautiful designs, and she's always been really like elegant design. So that was when I literally employed her when I was pregnant, like in my last trimester. And then I signed the commercial lease for my property on Packington Street because I needed somewhere for her to be.
Yeah.
And then I had my baby, and then we were in that, in that commercial space for a couple of years. So that wasn't like until like 5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there was a fair portion in there,
Yeah.
around 10 years that you were probably...
Yeah. Like me, then, freelance designers, and then an in-house designer, and then amalgamated with another business, and then cancer, then just me again. So it's gone like different life cycles. So
I think you have such an interesting journey though, especially like that's why we're so excited to have you on today, because you've lived the freelance. You very quickly made the step to subbies and freelance creatives.
Yeah.
You know, you took the step, you went the agency, you did phenomenal. And, you know, you've made the decision to be, you know, where you are today.
Yeah.
And keep pushing through.
Yeah. I think the main thing that happened recently was this whole cancer journey that I was on. It allowed me to step away and really think about, is this what I want to do? Because I'm dead sure that the stress and the anxiety of running a business is what led to me getting sick, because I was in a perpetual state of heightened anxiety all the time because I hadn't managed my mental health properly. So I'm certain that's what led to it. But I feel like it really gave me the opportunity. The silver lining was, is this what you want to do? If not, change it now. This is your opportunity to change now. This is, you know, I'm not into woo-woo, but I feel like it had to happen, because otherwise I would have just kept going. I would have kept going. Like I just would have kept rolling for 20 years. And, yeah, who knows what might have happened. But, yeah.
Well, that's why they call it the hamster wheel, I think. Because, if you stay, you will just keep
going.
Going, not because you're not thinking about any other alternative way of going about it.
And it's business ownership.
Yeah.
Solve the problems.
Yeah.
The next week. The next month.
You're always
do better than you last.
Further, like go further, do better, go further, do. And I think that that's just the way an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur works, because you're always wanting to better yourself. You're always wanting to get that new goal or that new shiny thing. Sometimes you need to take stock though and think, okay, is this actually in alignment with what you want? Because if you're really off track, you're going to find out through stress and anxiety and sickness, your body's going to tell you.
Yeah, I feel like you self-sabotage. Like your body will burn out and do all the physical things, but I feel like you also kind of operate in a different way. Like you can kind of tell whenever you're around people like that when they've just been grinding so hard, but they're sort of not making all of the right decisions and stuff like that. And they sort of, they've got like a bit of a pessimism, or like you can sort of notice
jaded.
But yeah. I feel like that's super common in like the creative industry, where you've got people that are become quite jaded because, and I think you're completely responsible for the business you create and like the boundaries you set and all of those and the expectations you set. So like being angry at like clients and stuff like that and thinking like, oh, the industry is cooked and clients like this, and feeling that way, I think it just doesn't serve anything.
No.
But you can always tell those people, it's like, oh, you've got to, you're working too much. You haven't created a business that you really love.
Yes.
If that's what you're doing.
Yes, absolutely. It shows up in how you talk with people, how you interact with others, the feeling that they get when people are around you. You can kind of feel it and you're like, oh, that energy's off, or something's not right there, and it's really hard to put your finger on it. But that's probably what it is. Yeah. Sounds accurate to me.
Yeah. I like what you were saying though, as a question everyone should ask. It's like, what do I actually want?
Yeah.
And I feel like that you kind of, like you probably went really deep on that, I'm guessing as well, of like, how many hours do I want to work? Do I want to own the business? Do I want to work for someone else? Do I want to have a team? Do I want to like, I suppose, what does that look like for you now? And going forward?
Yeah. Well, I suppose when I was recovering from having chemo and all that, there was a lot of time that I spent by myself, and it gave me the chance to kind of be really brutally honest with myself and my life and where I was going, because a whole bunch of stuff happened all at once. So beforehand, I almost lost D&Co because of a really poor business relationship that I had. I wasn't in the right frame of mind. So I was easily led by other people's opinions about my business and where it should be going and what it should be doing and all that sort of thing. So I guess almost losing it made me realize how important it is to me, because I like being able to help others through what I know and help them to achieve their business success. Essentially, that's what it is. That's my guiding thing, being able to help people through what I do. I couldn't see not doing that. And whether it was, I couldn't see myself working for someone else either, because I like doing things a certain way. I might be a control freak. But also I knew that D&Co gave me the flexibility, because I'm still not quite out of the woods yet with all this cancer stuff. The flexibility to grow it at my own pace and know that it's sustainable and know that it's in the right direction for what I want. There are still days that I need to take reprieve and rest. And I'm very clear with my clients about that. I'm pretty upfront. I don't want them to feel as if they're not being looked after, but I also don't want them to feel as if that I don't have the capability of looking after them, because I do. But it just means that I want them to really understand, okay, this is what it looks like. This is how things will flow. And if you're not on board, that's okay. And if you're not on board, that's okay. I can refer you to someone else. But if this is okay with you, fantastic. We can do some amazing, beautiful things together.
Yeah.
But I just think it's, being honest and upfront with where things are going just really helps. So, yeah.
I think if you set expectations well at the start.
Yeah.
I
think that's a massive thing.
I don't think I've ever been in a scenario where it's gone poorly and I've set the expectations properly.
Yeah.
And every time I set the expectations clearly, it's like...
It goes like a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things you can focus on when you're getting started is figuring out what are the boundaries and the ways to like set up the service before you go and deliver it.
And being really clear on that and not wavering unless there's a really strong reason for why that, maybe they've got, an event coming up or something, or, but it should have been, placed at the outset that this is what's, these are the boundaries, this is what's going to be expected, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because then it relieves their stress too. Because they're probably like...
They're not umming and ahhing. They can see the line. Like they know.
Like, oh, have I made the right decision? I haven't heard from them. Oh, no, wait. They said 2 to 3 business days. Okay, that's within normal.
Yeah.
And I think
as well, too, like you made a comment on this on a previous episode that I thought was fantastic. On the onboarding, just simply saying, you've trusted us. We're human. We're going to make mistakes.
Oh, absolutely.
And trust us to fix them.
Yeah.
Point them out.
Yep.
But trust us to fix them.
Yes.
Don't see a mistake and then can the whole service.
Oh, gosh, no.
Because if someone's promising you that they won't make mistakes, that's just not
like
realistic.
A superhuman? Or
Are they a computer? Like, what's going on?
Everyone makes mistakes. And I think it's the willingness to want to own up to it and be honest and frank and say, look, I messed up, but this is how we're going to fix it. And I think that that's really important in business. Owning when you're wrong and not trying to blame it on someone else. If it's you, it's you. I think there's a lot more power in that than, blaming someone else or pretending it didn't happen and sticking your head in the sand. You own up to it, you talk to the client, you resolve it, and then you fix it. And, it's a learning curve. You learn from it.
So for you, did you have like mentors early on getting into early 20s, you just business, this is happening. Graphic design, freelance, give me an ABN.
I wish I had a mentor.
So no mentors?
No.
What about in sort of like the, when you got to the agency space and stuff like that? Did business coaches, mentors, no?
I ended up having a really fantastic business coach, probably 3 or 4 years into the journey. Her name's Joanne Clark. I don't know if you've met her.
Yeah.
She's from Destiny Pursuit.
Yeah.
She was my business coach, and she whipped me into shape. I tell you what, like she is really great at being frank with people and saying, look, this is where your downfall is. We're working on this. We're sorting this. And I think without that energy, I don't think I would have survived, because I did not know what I was doing. I had no idea, absolutely no idea. And Joanne obviously had her own business. She'd been in the coaching space for a long time. And I think without her help, I wouldn't have been able to get to where I am today. So I owe her a lot, really a lot. But yeah, no mentors apart from that.
I think for me, I've had a few mentors along the journey, you know, without realizing that they were.
Yeah.
I can't imagine getting through without some sort of, like, you've got no idea what you're doing when you start out early on.
No.
Like, there is so much merit looking back.
Yeah.
I've never changed my cards. You know, I play them the same way because it's the person I am today.
Yeah.
But having someone to, you know, whether it's a boss or a manager or, you know, a business owner that you work for, you subcontract to, that you can just lean upon and learn and ask questions, I think is so much more powerful than being the one that figured it out and, you know, thinking that that's the pathway.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have?
I was probably the other way around. Like
You'd invest in a lot of PD.
Yeah, I did. My first year, first couple of years, I invested in a lot of coaches.
Cool. Right.
Which wasn't. There was a lot of them that I shouldn't have invested in, but there was a lot of
There's a lot of sharks.
And yeah, absolutely. And when you're coming in, like, because I was focusing on the coaching space, and that was the industry I was sort of like. All the communities I was in, everyone was so obsessed with like PD, and so much like, if you want other people to invest in you, you've got to constantly be investing in yourself. So I went heavy on that side, and probably to the detriment where I was investing more so in like, almost trying to find the magic pill, like invest into this program. This is the one that's going to get me to 20K a month. If I invest in this, is the thing that's going to get me to 30K a month. You know, I was just chasing that thing that was going to make it. And everyone, there's a lot of really good, salespeople out there that really lent into that. I'm a big advocate of like, I think a coach and a mentor is really, really good.
Yes.
But only get them when you've like, find one for the purpose of like which point you're stuck. Like if you don't know where you're stuck, that's a version of stuck as well. You need someone to help you see the things you don't see. Yeah. But if you're clear enough on like what you need help with, I think go and get that thing solved. And find one person to follow and listen to. Whereas I reckon there was one point where I had like, just 3 or 4 people, and all of them were virtually saying the same thing anyway.
Right.
You know? And they were all slightly different purposes. Like one was a mindset coach, one was a business coach, one was like focused more so on like Facebook groups and communities and content. And it was like at the end of the day, we're all kind of like, you only really need one objective person, I think. If that's not working, then go find an expert and get rid of that person.
Good fit.
No, and it's good. It's good to test people out, but I think going through stages, not having multiple people at the same time.
Yes.
So slightly different in that way.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a good route to go. I know recently, last year, we got some external advice, and for us, last year was a fantastic year for growing foundationally.
Oh gosh, yeah, you guys were you were still on fire.
We had a good year of setup. Yeah. And we onboarded a lot of clients fairly quickly, and we needed external advice. And that's exactly what we did. Yeah. Someone that was further along than us that we could help us fast track the steps.
Yeah.
So much merit in that.
Yeah.
And big shout out to them. Like they were fantastic. But, you know, we offboarded with them because we got to the point that we needed. And now we're looking for that next person that's like, okay, we're someone that's further along in the journey with us.
Yes.
That can fast track the next part of success for us.
Absolutely.
It is funny with like coaches and mentors. You kind of get to the point where like, not that you've like outgrown them entirely, but you've got as much as you can get from them at that stage.
Yeah.
Like I've heard some.
Yeah.
I'm still in a few of the coaching communities. I've had some of them post content around like, you know, if you find a good coach, you should always like stay with them kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
But I think there's merit in like going to someone for the purpose you need them and then like doing your own thing. Maybe you'll come back if it makes sense, but I like that as well. You find, who's the next person for where I'm at right now.
Absolutely. And that's what happened to me. I disengaged with Joe because I felt as if I was at the stage where like not kind of like outgrowing, but I had the confidence to know where I was at, to know where I was going. I learnt these amazing tools from her. I implemented them, and now I feel confident enough to go ahead with that on my own. But that's not to say that I may not link up with her again. You know, who knows? But yeah, I know what you mean. Yes.
I feel like you get to a stage as well where you almost like know what they're going to say. Like you kind of you ask a question, you're in rapport
with them.
Yeah. It's like, and you've worked with them long enough that like they'll say it and you're like, yeah, I thought you were going to say that. Yeah. And then that for me, if that's happening consistently, that was like the tell for me where I was like,
that's the point where I've learnt as much as I possibly can from this situation.
Yeah, 100%. It's like I feel like it's whatever they've had to pass on to me has now been instilled.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to go on my own.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When you're like predicting how they're going to react to things, I think it's a big indicator. Yeah.
Whereas I feel like, when you first get started, and similar with service, any other service, I feel like you invest into something and you sort of have an idea of the way it should go, and they go, nah, but this, and this. And you go, great, this is why I pay you. This is why I'm working with you.
I was expecting. Like, this is fresh. This is new. This is, why I've got your expertise. Yeah. If they're coming up with things that you could have done yourself, kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah. You're almost just looking for someone to agree with you the whole time, which I think if you're looking for a mentor and you get someone that is just like a yes person,
that's not challenging you to grow.
No, not at all.
Mm-mm.
When you were working with coaches and things like that, and obviously going through growth for you, I suppose 2-part question. What did you define success as then? And like now, what do you define success as?
It's funny that you say that because I actually did a LinkedIn post about this a couple of days back in prep for this. Because I was thinking about it. My idea of success when I first started was having a massive agency and having a big team and working with big business with these massive budgets and winning awards and all that, shiny prestige kind of aspect of things.
Mm-hmm.
That is so not success for me these days. Success for me these days is being able to spend time with my son, knowing that I'm doing an awesome job for my clients, that everything's on track, that we're creating these amazing, solutions for them that, might fix their problem or whatever, or represents their brand in the best possible light, gets some business, but also being able to take stock and rest when I need. For me, that's a massive thing. To have the flexibility to do that is a really big thing for me, just to make sure that I'm looking after myself, so I'm not pouring from an empty cup, and so I don't relapse again. And it's not about the money either. I get the biggest joy out of helping people launch their business, helping them to achieve their goals. And that's so much, you can't really put a monetary value on that. I know, I'm like, you have to make money, yes. You need to make money. You need to make sure that you're hitting your sales targets and all that sort of thing. But for me, the bigger payoff is having an impact on other people's lives in a meaningful way and helping to contribute to their success. So it's a vastly different indicator of success for me these days as what it was in the past.
But I feel like that's like, if you don't have that as a business, like I know I've had friends that like from school that saw me growing the business, and after it got to a certain point where it was like successful enough that it was, you know, making a decent income.
Yeah.
A few of them were asking questions about it and sort of like now interested, and they're sort of like, oh, well, so, oh, you're going to do this, and like I'd like to like make money by having, you know, an online business sort of thing. And it's like, I think if you get into it with like just the purpose of trying to make like money, get rich quick, essentially,
you're on the wrong tram.
Yeah, it's the worst way to go about it. I think you've got to be like obsessed about like genuinely wanting to do the thing you're doing and in your craft, and you know. Yeah, like you've got to enjoy it. Like
absolutely.
If you're just getting into it because you think you're going to make lots of money, you won't make lots of money.
No. Like there are people that definitely do it, and I'll say it. The coach that we had, don't get me wrong, he was fantastic. He gave us great advice, but I saw it.
Yes.
He was in it
for the money.
For the money. And he got to a fantastic point. And towards the end of the course for us, for when we were there, he took stock and he was like, this is not what I'd wanted.
Right.
Like he loved giving back and stuff like that, but he was like, I want to build something entirely different.
Yeah.
Like I don't want this.
Yeah.
But you know, you almost trap yourself in. You're like, because you get used to the lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, you get used to sitting there with 80 grand a month coming in, you know, you're supporting your family, you're buying all these things. And now you're sitting there going,
this is really hollow.
I don't want this. Now you can't stop the life you're living.
Yes.
So it becomes almost worse of a position to a degree because you've learned so much by being in that spot. But
like it lacks the meaning that you're searching for. I think it's really important as a creative business to be really in tune with your passion and you know, always being curious, I think, is really important. Like wanting to learn more, and instead of just stagnating and staying where you're at and being comfortable and doing what you always do, there's so much more to learn when you're a creative and, you know.
Well, particularly nowadays, like you really can't be stagnant, particularly as a freelancer or a business owner.
Gosh, no.
You're screwed if you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And like honestly putting to bed the fact of I need to hold my secrets in, and the gatekeep community.
Oh no.
Collaboration, ever since we started collaborating.
Yeah.
Growth.
So much more.
So much more growth.
And it's funny that you say that, because when I first started my business, there was a lot of gatekeeping going on in the creative industry. And you'd go out and network and meet other creatives, and they would not want to talk to you. And you're like, what is wrong with this person? It was gatekeeping. They didn't want to tell you what they were doing, what they were up to, because they didn't want you poaching their clients. And I'm like, I'm not interested in your clients. I'm interested in you.
Yeah.
Like, because I thrive off knowing, you know, other creatives and what they're doing, and, you know, just in tune with their passion, and it makes you passionate about what you're doing. And I don't know, it's like an exchange. Anyway, heaps of gatekeeping going on. It's now changed quite a lot, which is great, because it wasn't pleasant to be around other creatives, because they were constantly like, oh, she's gonna, you know, take my big client. I'm like, I couldn't give a shit about that. Like, I don't want to take your client.
I think a lot of, so I thought about this before. I feel like the creative industry sort of like shifted. It's become more in demand now as well. That like if you're not doing well, there's something there that you need to look at.
Yes.
Like either it's a like quality of service thing, like the actual deliverables you're doing,
How you
the marketing,
communicate
the
with
sales.
Communication with clients is really important.
I feel like
really.
there's something in that to look into if you're not doing well.
Yeah.
Well enough to like,
it's going to show up in your processes somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like most creatives I speak to now are more so on the side to like the good creatives or like, I'm busy as. Like, I don't, like, I'm not that fussed if I miss if I don't get every single lead that I could possibly get because like I'm really busy.
I'm busy. I'm comfortably busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's when you're stressed out busy might be a bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever worked with Peter Foster, the photographer?
Did he? Yes.
Peter is one of these guys.
Yes.
Because very early on in my photography career,
yes,
I've always been an event photographer, chaotic photographer, and no one's ever shown me posing, lighting, or anything like that.
Right.
And Peter, like very early on, was one of these people that was like, oh, just
I'll show you.
tag along on my shoots. I'll show you how I do it, the lighting triangle. And Peter is one of these photographers that can sit there and mathematically understand and build it in his mind exactly where the lights need to be, at what power, to be able to create the exact look, the color, contrast, and everything that he wants in a studio environment, and even like out on lifestyle.
Yeah, right.
Like phenomenal photographer.
Yes.
Because early days, like I had no one to lean on. I dropped out of school. I had some unfortunate things go on in my early years that stopped me from doing a lot.
Yeah.
And I didn't do any TAFE courses. I'm completely self-taught. And at that point,
that's amazing.
I went straight under, an agency set up and had one person that was the gospel and they'd taught me everything. And we were limited at that knowledge. So, no one really wanted to talk to us because at that point, the agency that I was under and building, we were trying to build a big thing. So no one would teach us. Right. No one would help us because
they were a bit.
We were trying to be everything to everyone, and we built a presence that made us look much larger than we were. So
this is where branding's really important.
Exactly. Like we looked massive.
Look big.
So no one wanted to talk to us.
Yes.
But Peter was one of these people that he's like, yeah, come in. I'll show you how to use the studio. And funny thing, he taught me, which is funnily enough this room.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to have two lights in a photography scenario until you learn how to light every situation with one light. Because at that point you've mastered the art of
lighting.
Of lighting.
Wow.
And it was challenging for me too because I took that on very early and I was like trying to light every situation with like bounce cards and one light. And as certain situations it really struggled. But Peter supported us very early on, and to this day, like I still chat to Peter.
Yeah, that's awesome.
As we've grown, like now we're utilizing more contractors and things like that. And at our level that we're at now, it's just a slight step up. There's things that I'm not going to be able to learn, and it's not like I can go call another agency around and go, what's the industry standard on markup for contractors?
Yes.
You go and chat to Peter and he's like, oh,
I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's this.
Yeah.
Industry standard.
Wow.
And I wanted to use Peter for a job. He's like, put this margin on top of me. That's standard. Everyone does it. Yeah. Don't feel like you're ripping people off. It's completely fair. Most people do double that and they're ripping people off.
Right.
And I was like, Peter, you're the best.
Oh man, how good's that?
So yeah.
I like what you said. I feel like there's something in, like, and this we've talked about it before. When you go, like, people go into business, they try to be everything for everyone.
Yes,
and it sort of goes
Jack
into
of all trades.
Yeah. Whereas I feel like people are more willing to collaborate when you do have a niche. Like if it's sort of like, hey, this is my lanes. Like, even though you're over here. We might look like we do the same things, but we can share a lot because I'm not going for your client. So I think that's also like there's something to be said about that as well, about knowing your lane, because then as well allows you to go out to all these people and go, hey, I want to give all of this stuff to you guys because that isn't my lane.
Yep.
I think that's a good way to sort of network and be able to collaborate.
Well, that's the whole premise of the name behind D & Co, the & Co. because I never wanted to be a full stack agency.
Mm.
I wanted to specialize in branding and brand experience because that's my jam. That's my expertise. But then I bring in others who are, you know, experts in their field, like, you know, you guys. And because I know that my client's going to be really well looked after, and, you know, you guys know your craft better than anyone else. Like, I don't know video like you know video. So I farm it out to creatives that I trust, and I've always done it like that. And there's been multiple people who wanted to come in and change that. And I'm like, no, that's not the premise of what we're about. We're about collaboration. We're about knowing that our clients looked after by experts in their field, the best of the best, to ensure that they get the best of the best result. That's always been a big thing for me. And it was probably a bit, I suppose 15 years ago, people were like, that's weird.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, weird.
But I feel like full service agencies were what everyone did.
Yeah.
Like, even up until maybe, I don't know, up until like 7 years ago.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, and it's,
yeah,
like,
and
I feel like I saw that phase out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's definitely still some around, but
there absolutely is.
I mean, so it's so appetizing. I mean, we were having this conversation before we started that, you know, someone that goes out on the journey to be a graphic designer, but all of a sudden you're getting the website lead, and, you know, you go and do a logo for $500 or, you know, $1,000. So all of a sudden someone wants a website and they're offering you $1,000, and you're like, I'll learn code, or I'll get someone to fill that slight shoe. All of a sudden you do that and they need the website imagery. Oh, I can use the camera.
Yeah.
I just need a banner video. Oh, there's no script, there's no audio. It's just 10 clips back to back. All of a sudden you're picking up photography, videography.
Yeah.
They want SEO while you're at it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, have you got a Google Ads strategy?
Oh my God.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, and all of a sudden, you know,
Yeah.
am I doing a $500 logo where most of the time I get so much feedback and it's degrading, or am I doing a $50,000, $60,000 experience that I can do across, you know, 3 months and then have recurring revenue? So I get it. It's so appealing.
It is tempting.
But I feel like most people go through this journey.
Yeah.
And they realize that there is so much knowledge in each profession. And I've said this to you, and I know we differ at this point. I hate the word marketing. I hate the word marketing.
It's a dirty word.
It's a dirty word. It's overused, and I think.
Well, what does it mean these days? Even like, it evolves so much.
For me, I've lost my train of thought. I think that's fine. For me, for marketing, I believe marketing. I've said this a million times. I love it. Marketing is like a builder, right? A builder will go and get you a set of plans. We'll figure out the house you want to build.
Yeah.
We'll organise your plumbers, your sparkies, your concreters. They're important. They build the frames. They do the fit off. If the concreters stuff shit up, they'll probably fix it because they understand what you want, the entire journey and everything. Yeah. They could go and do anyone's job if they needed to, a plumber, a sparky. It'll take them 10 times as long and they're not licensed, but they could go and do it if they needed to. Yeah. To liken this to our industry, marketing, I believe, personal opinion, is someone that can understand what you want to achieve when you all the different systems to attract attention, convert that, and get it to your success point. So that is a website, that is your graphic design, that is your print media, your user experience, your Google Ads, your SEO, your content marketing, your socials, any forms of PR, TV advertising, all those things come into marketing. They're the ones that formulate the plan and go, this ties in with this and your tonality and this and this and this. Yes. But they don't do everything. No. They're more of your consultant, organizer of everything. Yes, they may have some internal services that they do because they require control over certain things. Yeah. But they don't do everything. No. No. That to me is marketing. Yes. And I get a real pet peeve when there are these small, or not even small, they're like influencers that go and generate 1 million views that all of a sudden are a marketer. No. No, you're a, you know, you understand virality and you understand, you know, audiences and content. You're not a marketer. No. But it's like a broad, I know exactly what you're saying. It's like a broad, they're the ones that amalgamate the plan. They bring together the roadmap for you. They don't
they don't go and do everything for you. That's where you'd bring in your creatives that
Definitely.
would be able to execute it for you. Yeah.
But marketing is it's interesting how it's changed. And obviously now with the movement of AI, when everyone gets their AI bots to tell them what they want in marketing, I think it's super interesting, like how the landscape's changing.
It is changing. I just actually saw on Instagram, I think it was an overseas agency, who are now marketing themselves as a creative AI agency. So they leverage AI as well as them being a creative team to get the best result for their client because they've just rebranded. And I was like, that's an interesting slant. Like,
I've seen this happen with so many things. Just slap AI into their name or their offering or whatever.
Yeah, like what does that actually mean?
I don't love it in that context because I think that, like, to me, and this is like, I think the unfortunate side of like where I think people's perspective is going around this stuff is that AI means cheap.
Yeah.
Like, you're just going to figure out how to plug it through ChatGPT.
Like not bespoke, not considered.
Yeah. And I think that's probably where I get a little bit concerned for people as AI is developing and people think that they can. Everyone's like, I found this prompt that creates a business plan in like a one-page business plan for me, or this will tell me what to do on social media. And it's like, yeah, but like you don't even really know the right information and questions to be asking and what you're going to put it in once, get an answer and take that as gospel.
Yeah. Without it encompassing all the information.
And even if you are, prompty enough.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Prompty.
Prompt enough to get it to ask you the questions and get the information out. At the end of the day, you don't have any experience to verify the information that's come back out of
that it's accurate or
even useful.
Yes.
Like a business plan that it generates and says you should do X, Y, and Z is fantastic.
Yeah.
But how do you know it's actually relevant for you in your marketplace?
Absolutely.
Or even copy. That's the one that really grinds my gears. Everyone just utilizing it to replace copywriters.
Yes.
How do you know that it's actually encapsulated tonality correctly and all these things? Like, you're not a copywriter to read that back and go, that's 100%.
Yeah.
Or even like the AI images, like, like you see like a really similar one pops up and it's like just two people sitting at a desk together and like, why'd you even do the photo?
Yeah.
Like, why go to that effort to even prompt this AI image? I feel like the whole purpose of like adding an image with the post is so that you can see the people, see the business, see the thing that you're like interested in.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
It just seems so weird to me. Like, you look at some people's socials and you just see all these AI generated images and you're like, who even is this business?
No.
Like, what is it?
Yeah. It would make me concerned that it's very artificial and fake. And I'd be like, can I trust it? It also has that trust.
100%.
Makes you question the trustworthiness of the business if that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, what are they going to be doing with the work that they produce for me?
I couldn't agree. I think I've said it before in another thing because we were talking on the like AI avatars side of thing.
Yeah.
And whether or not you could replace yourself in that way.
Yeah, right.
And some of them have gotten ridiculously good already. But I still think it's going to be a really long time before it gets that 1%, that even 0.5% where you're not like, you watch it and you're like, something's just not quite sitting right.
Yeah.
And the whole point of marketing is to build trust.
Oh, yeah.
And
absolutely.
So that...
So you're stripping it away.
Yeah, that little... Even just the fact that you have that little part that makes someone drop trust a little bit defeats the whole purpose of even doing the activity in the first place, whether it's a video or post or a logo or whatever.
And it's really hard to regain that trust when it's gone through your brand. Yep. It's really difficult. Like, have a look at, like, you know, when all those data leaks had happened, like Latitude, you know, their brands were really tarnished. The trustworthiness went right downhill because people felt they weren't safe.
Yeah.
So to try and rebuild that trust when it's gone, it takes a long time. And I don't even know if you can get back to it sometimes.
In saying all this, though,
yeah,
like for creatives, this is the moment, and I liken it to building because I've got a building experience, building background. This is the moment that, you know, the drill, you know, the Milwaukee drill and the impact driver was created. We're no longer using hammers and spanners to tighten bolts and hammer in nails.
Yeah.
Builders, us creatives now, we've got impact drivers and drills, and we're using circ saws to make houses.
Yeah.
You know, our efficiency has just gone through the roof, and our ability to, like, time to value for clients is insane.
Yeah.
Changes for people that understand how to build a house and how to be creative. You know, ChatGPT is great for coming up with ideas. It
definitely has its place.
Adobe Firefly.
Yes.
Like some of those things that I've seen in the graphic space is phenomenal. To give quick mock-ups and ideas to go, you want to go that direction? Let's go that direction.
It definitely has its place. It's just when it's misused.
Yeah.
And it does the entirety of your job.
Yeah.
Replaces, like, the creative, sentient and emotive part of what you do. It doesn't sit right. But it's great for, like, streamlining processes, you know, time efficiency and all that sort of thing. But I think it has its place.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We had a job recently because we still do a bit of external work where we're sort of like hired muscle. And the brief came to us, the shot list came to us, the script came to us, and the lighting outline came to us.
Wow.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And we read through it all and we're like, this is all made in ChatGPT. The script is all
actually see
the script is all ChatGPT.
Ooh.
You know, 5 different, 10, 15 different hooks, different this, different that. The concept around the video just wasn't someone hadn't created that.
Right.
Like it's the perfect structure.
Okay.
It's not an idea. It's the perfect structure.
Like, where's the creativity? The creativity. Where's the you know,
even like down to the lighting plan
edge. Yeah.
The lighting plans and how it was all developed. It's like that's all an AI idea.
Wow.
And we had to sit down and make the decision at that point. It's like, do we do it?
Yeah.
Do we do it, or do we turn around to this person and say like, we have a way better idea. Like we can run with this or go with that.
Yeah.
Super interesting to see the difference in
and that you could tell too.
Oh, by far.
Yeah.
It just felt like buying a pack of those ballpoint pens, like the black, the red, the blue, in a 30 pack, rather than just buying like a nice pen.
Like a Parker pen.
Like a Parker. I'm going to buy a Parker pen next week.
Parker pens.
Are they good?
They are the best.
Okay, good.
I've got one from my grandfather. Oh, really?
No. What's a Parker pen?
It's like go to Officeworks. They're like these beautifully, or the ones in Officeworks aren't beautifully presented, but you can get ones that are beautifully presented in like a really nice box that are silver or gold, and they're just, I don't know, they're really nice to write with.
That is so good to hear.
The experience of using it, like with the brand.
I did a lot of research the other day, and I came down to the fact of a Parker pen. So that is reaffirming.
Yeah, Parker pens are good.
I should look into it. I do like my notebook and writing stuff out. I don't think I'll ever go away from like handwritten
I'm
stuff.
the same.
Yeah.
I'm the same.
Do you sketch? Were you a sketcher?
I used to be in high school. I used to draw a lot of manga and anime, like Evangelion, Neon Genesis, that sort of stuff. I was good at that, and I did life drawing and stuff like that at TAFE. I wasn't particularly great at that. But now I do sketch, but it's like it's not great. It's not good. Like, it's more for my kind of formation of ideas kind of thing than to present to a client.
Yeah.
I much prefer to get into Illustrator digitally and execute straight off the bat what I want to do. But sketching, I do, but it's not not for anyone else's eyes.
How much has Illustrator changed over the years?
God, wow.
I opened it
heaps.
Opened it up the other day.
Yeah.
Just the new capabilities inside of it. I was like, this is so much more.
It's not like paint.
Yeah. There's a funny story that. So when I first started my event photography, I thought I was the duck's nuts.
You got out paint.
I got out paint because I was shooting, at that time I was about 15, 16. I wasn't getting invited to parties. I was a massive nerd back when I had huge, long hair. And I was, we're not getting invited to parties, so it was my way to get to parties. Yeah. And I wanted to see growth. I wanted to get my brand out there. So I had to watermark all the images.
Oh, yes.
And I didn't understand what culling was back then either. So I'd shoot an event and shoot like 600 images in an hour. And get back home, and I'll be like, okay, well, let's watermark the images. Double click, open in Paint, drag in a PNG, roughly put it in the corner at the right, at the right size, and outside whatever. For 600 images, so it took me 8 hours to watermark the process, and I did it through Paint. And one of the reasons that I went and worked for this agency is, I got him to shoot my sister's 18th, and he was like, I've been seeing your work, And I'm like, yeah. Told him the story. He's like, are you kidding me? He's like, there's this program called Lightroom, and you can use it to make your selections, apply and edit. And I hadn't even
like batch.
I hadn't even
batch editing.
Changed exposure before, clarity, anything. He lifted the blacks to make the nice haze, which was the craze at the time.
Wow.
And he's like, and there's this feature where you can watermark all of them and then exports in about 15 minutes. I'm like, sign me up.
Oh my God.
It's so funny. It really was the craze back then. I'm thinking of like
the lifted blacks.
Yeah. That's very funny.
It's such the craze. But
it's so funny. Like the things that you learn. Just like actually Rory from Clever Digital taught me, when was this? A couple of years back. He taught me something in InDesign, and I was like, I did not know that. He's like, how do you not know that? I'm like, I don't know, but you just taught me something new, and I just did not know that.
Are you playing in the 3D space at all? Are you getting into Blender, into all these things?
No, I probably should have a look, but yeah,
because that for me has been such an interesting space. I know for me, like, I'm trying to forward plan augmented reality because I think the day and age that we are surfing the web on our mobile phones is not for much longer.
Yeah.
So I think, for us, when the cameras turned on the side and all creatives' worlds broke and, all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're filming portrait.
Yes.
That's going to happen again where, you've got to film in 3D.
Yes.
Because, when you create something, it's got to be viewable by the Ray-Bans glasses and the Apple Vision Pros, and it needs to be an experience that someone can live.
Yeah.
And I think that, that augmented reality, I think graphic designers or 3D artists will boom because, when people are walking around with their meta glasses on, you'll need 3D billboards that'll need to be designed by, 3D artists.
Interact with. Yeah.
Definitely. And those graphical digital assets, how they're formulated will change.
Yeah.
I think the switch will obviously be that inside the, the augmented reality verse, there will be a virtual feed because it's a very slight step. So rather than a phone, you'll turn on your glasses and there'll be a feed that you can virtually flick through. But very quickly that'll move to more expansive experiences. And I think the horizontal format will come back very, very quickly at that point.
Yeah, right.
But
interesting
for for someone like yourself, even just to have someone that you can consult and contract to for Blender and 3D,
absolutely,
I think would be a huge step.
I'll have to have a look now. Once again, something I did not know, so I learned something today too.
It's always moving.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for coming on today, Kate. Now, if anyone wanted to get in touch with you after the podcast, where would be the best place to do that?
Sure. Well, head to my website, dncostudio.com.au. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram under the handle D&Co Studio, and you'll find my email somewhere. It's in there somewhere. Or you could just reach me at kate@dncostudio.com.au.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thanks again for coming on, and it's been a pleasure to do this after all these years.
Yeah.
Finally getting to not only be a friend, meet you, work with you, but it's been phenomenal. So thank you again.
Thank you so much.